Medical authorities in Cumberland have concluded that in all cases, the killers are eating the flesh of the people they murdered.
It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Pumpkin Patch. I'm Melissa Klink, and I have locked James Moser up in the basement for this 27th episode of Days of Halloween, because tonight is Ladies' Night. I am talking to you, Jessica Moser, mechanical bird enthusiast. Why don't you join me? We'll build ourselves a clockwork army and take over the patriarchy. James Moser was incorrect when he said that The Lost Boys was the greatest vampire movie ever made, because that belongs to Interview with a Vampire. When I first saw that movie at the tender age of 15, I almost imploded from a hottie overload. Now, Lost Boys may have been the first movie to introduce the idea of an attractive vampire, but Interview with a Vampire owned it. But I am not here to talk about vampires tonight. I am here to take on zombies. Zombie movies have been traditionally aimed at the male audience, but I'm here to prove that there's something for even us ladies to love in a zombie movie. But tonight, I'd like to take on our choices from a feminine perspective, just to prove that even the ladies have something to enjoy in a good zombie movie. Our first choice for the classic movie will be Day of the Dead by George A. Romero. It was released in 1985 and starred Laurie Cardille. Now, one of the things I learned from watching this movie recently, George A. Romero has a tendency to have strong female characters in his movies, and I really appreciated this. George A. Romero was progressive for his time, and he never shied away from a strong, capable female lead. You go, George Romero. Another part that I liked about this movie was the character of Bub. And I just kind of liked the humanity of a zombie kind of aspect, and I thought this was kind of a more genteel look on the zombies. And yes, it's got your usual gore that you're gonna see in a zombie movie, but it also has the humanity and the character development that even a female audience can appreciate. It is part of the Dead series, the third section of the storytelling. So it starts with Night of the Living Dead, where we are seeing the outbreak of the zombie infestation. And then with Dawn of the Dead, we can see the whole collapse of civilization. And this movie, we are seeing what it is like to live in the apocalyptic world where civilization has already collapsed. It's pretty intense. You know, I think that's pretty cool that there's a lot of intense emotional play off of the characters. The villains you really love to hate, and the hero you just want to see kick butt. And she does kick butt. So, good on you. Our selection tonight for overlooked horror, if my clothing is any indication, is also one of my favorites, and we are going back to the Victorian era with Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies, based on the popular book by Seth Grahame-Smith, which the book in itself was an adaptation of the classic Jane Austen novel. It has the same basic storyline. We have Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy, who are always kind of at odds. However, there is one catch. All of the characters in this version are zombie hunters living in a zombie apocalypse in Victorian era London. All the Bennet sisters are fierce warriors, Elizabeth most of all, and this is what draws Mr. Darcy to her. But she doesn't want to have any of that because he is just so rude and conceited. And it doesn't matter that he's a man of reputation and wealth, because none of those things matter to her. She just wants love, just like any woman would want, and yet in the Victorian era, love was a bit hard to come by when you had to just kind of marry who your parents chose for you. What I love about this movie is that it is both an action-packed horror movie and a romance. I think that combining these two genres took some real out-of-the-box thinking kind of creativity, and that's why I own this movie and have seen it many times. It is a must-see for women of varying tastes. It's a great chick flick, as well as something kind of fun even for the gentlemen. So we can drag them along and, you know, we get the romance and they get the brain-eating zombies. Our choice for Halloween for the in-between is an animated animated feature Paranorman. The main character featured in this film is an 11-year-old boy named Norman, who has the special ability of being able to see and speak to the dead. He lives in a town full of wacky neighbors, both dead and alive. This town, however, has been cursed by a witch. Every year, her accusers, who had her put to death, will rise from their graves and wreak havoc upon the town. Mr. Pendergast, the town lunatic, played by John Goodman, is tasked with preventing this from happening each year. But however, he is dying and must pass this important job on to Norman. Norman, being a child, of course, is very reluctant to take on this responsibility and fails miserably in his attempt, causing all sorts of hilarious hijinks to ensue. This family-friendly movie is delightfully funny with a plot twist in the end. Or, as my 9-year-old put it, it is epic. It is well worth putting on your list for family movie night. Its goofy humor makes it enjoyable for all ages. Our selection for tonight's kids classic, though it was released in 2018, is the Disney original movie Zombies. It stars Milo Manheim as Zed the Zombie and Meg Donnelly as Addison the quirky cheerleader. And of course, it's all about trying to blend in and then realizing that you really just gotta be yourself. Now, I know what you're thinking. We've done a lot of Disney here at the Fall Horsemen, but we've come to accept Disney as our new overlords, and in my personal opinion, you should too. Our story starts with a prologue explaining how an accident in the Seabrook power plant brought the zombies into existence and threw the town of Seabrook into chaos. The humans have since built some technology that will help suppress the zombies' violent nature and craving for brains. I felt that this movie had a Warm Bodies meets High School Musical kind of vibe. It is full of catchy song and dance numbers. Beneath its bubblegum poppy surface, there was a subtle hint towards systemic racism and civil rights movements. So I thought that was kind of a little bit of a heavy thing to spring on kids, but I don't think they'll really notice because they're too busy watching the singing and dancing. All in all, if you know a preteen girl who loves Disney original movies, this one would be right up her alley and be great for Halloween. Tonight's featured haunt is House of Torment in Austin, Texas. However, when I did check the official website, I noticed that they are going to be closed for Halloween due to certain laws in their area, but they do have a disclaimer saying that their sister location, 13th floor in San Antonio, will be open for Halloween. Now, I don't know if this is going to change, but as always, you can check the links down below and see what kind of information you can find for yourself. Well, this has been my feature on zombies, and I suppose I should probably let James go now, if I have to. You know what to do. If you don't know how to use social media by now, you must have been living in a cave. Don't forget to click or treat, go ahead and subscribe, like us, and we love to see what you think. We appreciate it. My wine is gone. Oh, too high. Okay. Bloopers. Just had to say. Oh, Lord.
Hi, James.
Hi, James. Hi, Jessica.
Hey, you can go outside and scream at the sun.
Magic. Okay, let's try this again. Excuse me while I drink some water. Which one comes usually in the series next? Is it Overlooked Horror? I was like, nah, there won't be any bloopers for me. Okay. A good, strong Lori Cardeal was that George A. Romeo as the... I need to do that again. Nope, it does not. Start over with Miss James. I'm choking.
Sorry, James.
Sorry, James. Gotta do it again. Nope. To the Victorian with a pride. This is so much harder than it looks. Let's try this again, shall we? And in... I wasn't looking at the camera. That is a bit of a tongue twister there, James. Whew. I didn't think I'd have to check my notes this often. It's clever on paper, but if I could only get my tongue to say it. Mr. Panda tick, not ticked. Oh, mouse. Let me do that again because I think I bent down too soon. Starts with a... But what I found most about... I thought, oh my got this. There'll be no outtakes for me. Oh, I'll make it. I swear. I'm gonna make it.